Welcome back, guys. How's everyone doing? So what do we think of this? This is the MG Cyberster. This is MG's latest. You know, MG have been doing some crazy stuff with EVs lately. But this is their latest kind of launch. I mean, say launch, I think it's a bit of a concept car, to be honest. But this is like their latest EV that everyone's kind of ranting and raving about. So it's an electric roadster, effectively. It kind of looks a bit kind of, I suppose, like MX-5y kind of looking, or a bit, maybe a bit like Honda S2000 even. Like, I mean, I actually quite like the look of it. I'm not going to lie. Can we get some more pictures of this? Where's the rest of it? Okay, so look. So you got the back here, nice lights. The back look quite good. The Cyberster. Oh God, what are we doing? Why are we calling cars Cyberster? Why not call it an MGE? I mean, am I just being stupid or something? That font just looks horrendous. And this is just Tesla just rubbing off on it. Cybertruck, Cyberster. Yeah, I don't like the name. Anyway, get past the name. Design's pretty nice. It does look quite good. I like this kind of, you know, rear valance and everything else on there. The lights. And can we get some more pictures of front? Yeah, you know, it does look pretty smart. I'm not going to lie, this looks pretty nice. It is everything that I would want from like a kind of an electric sports car, looks wise. Anyway, there's no pictures of. I don't know. It looks kind of like Z4 size, I would say. I mean, it's difficult to say from the photos, but it kind of looks like a bit Z4ish, doesn't it? How the hell are they fitting a battery in this? That's what I want to know. I mean, the fact that this is a concept at the minute. And I don't know if there's actually a moving one yet, but would say to me that they're still working that out. There's supposed to be two versions of this, like a rear-wheel drive and a all-wheel drive. I think the rear-wheel drive one is about 300 horsepower. I need to get the specs up. I don't think there's actually any specs on here, which is a bit stupid. I'm going to try and find the specs of this MG Cyberster. I'm struggling to find some information about this, but I'm just going over to Fully Charged Show because they've obviously got some pretty good coverage recently, and this is actually recent. This is 10 days ago, so I'm just going to skim through here and just see. I've got to say, I'm getting really bored of videos like this where it's just so hyped, and you know, you just got just annoying people presenting and giving you the information. So he does actually go through here. Right, here we go. Performance figures. That's what we want to know. Let's see if we can put on subtitles here. Two variants, one single motor one and one dual motor one. So yeah, I was right. Single motor rear wheel drive, we can anticipate it's going to have roughly 300 horsepower. Rear wheel drive. Okay, let's just stop that. So it's 300 horsepower and it's going to be nearly 2 tons, I've seen somewhere else. So that's not going to have a really good power to weight ratio. I'll tell you now, that is not going to have a good power to weight ratio. But I mean, it's still going to be pretty reasonable performance. It's electric, so it's going to have, you know, it's going to have decent torque and everything else. But it's going to be heavy, and I don't know how. I mean, you can't make an electric sports car light at this stage. It is actually it's impossible to do it because the batteries are so heavy. Unless you have one that was going to do like, you know, 20 miles range or 50 miles range, you're not going to get the sort of performance. Or you fill it with lithium polymer batteries, which probably isn't going to happen. Anyway, let's go back to this and see what else they're going to say. So, and then the all-wheel drive version, looking at something in the vicinity of 500, mid 500 horsepower. Okay, so that's getting there, but in reality, is this going to happen? I mean, they haven't made it yet. No one's managed this yet in a sort of small light car. So I don't know. Maybe they will. We'll have to see what happens where that goes. Just carry on watching. Targeting 0 to 60 time in the mid 3 seconds for that all-wheel drive one. I mean, you know, that's probably fairly reasonable, but it's definitely not supercar quick, like he's saying there. Not by today's standards, anyway. My TT weighs 1.5, it's around 1.5, so 1.5 tons. It's got about 450 horsepower, 500 newton meters or so. This is petrol, and that will do 3 seconds 0 to 60. I think the last time I checked it, something like that. So that's going to be pretty quick. I mean, I don't know that I'd want to be driving around something again that kind of fast with that amount of weight. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Like, we've never really kind of had cars this heavy with that sort of performance. Well, apart from like muscle cars, and we all know how well they handle, weight is everything. Like, you know, you get faster acceleration, you get better handling with less weight. So yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting one. I don't know. I feel like they're kind of like first to the party with this. They want to get their release out, and they want to kind of, you know, say, look, here we go, we've got this coming, just to kind of whet people's appetites. I'm glad that they're kind of doing it in some ways, but I mean, yeah, at this stage, I would not commit to buying that other thing. So let's just talk about the interior for a sec. So it's like a gaming setup. You've got 3 screens. I've heard that you can actually set dials on here as well. So at the push of a button, you can basically just have like, you know, actual dials on there, like digital dials, which would probably be my preference. This steering wheel, I don't think it's making it into production good, because that is horrible. I don't know if it's like drive-by-wire or if it's actually physically connected. I hope it's connected to the flipping wheels, because I mean, that's the pinnacle of a sports car, isn't it? Being able to feel the road underneath you. And that's what I don't like about a lot of these EVs, is that you just feel like you're just not connected to the car. Even less so the fact that you've got all the, you know, all the gadgets and gizmos. There's no buttons, a lot of the Teslas and stuff. So they feel heavy, and they just don't feel like that engaging. And I mean, that's fine if you're just going down the shops, or you just don't really care what you're doing. You just want to be taken somewhere. But for something like, you know, for someone that likes driving cars, I mean, this is the sort of thing you have to get over with kind of electric. That's why the Twizy for me was just amazing, because it was like, I can have an EV that's like a go-kart basically. It's just like a, you know, it's raw. There's nothing. There's no assistance. There's nothing. You can spin that little dude, and it'll be upside down if you're not careful. There's nothing looking after you, and it feels to me like an old school kind of hatch. And that brings me on to something else as well. You know, it's one of these things. I think, you know, if you're interested in this sort of thing, maybe look at converting existing cars into electric as well, because you probably find that, you know, if you get something older and convert it, it's not going to cost you anywhere near that sort of money. And it's going to, I mean, same money, I haven't mentioned how much this is. I think it's like 50 grand, something like that. They're saying it's about 50,000. Where's the price? I've read some articles recently. It's like 50 grand, and then they say it's around 50,000 for the slow one, the 300 horsepower one, and then like sort of 60 for the high performance one, which doesn't seem bad. I mean, these MGs seem to be pretty good price. You know, all the EV stuff seems to be pretty competitive. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Lose those doors, lose the scissor doors. The amount of idiots in Teslas I've seen with those doors just driving off and smashing them into the top of multi-storey car parks and stuff, thinking they're really cool. Yeah, lose those doors. You know, the other thing they haven't mentioned is range as well, because we all know what happens when you stick your foot down. And let's face it, if you're going to have a car like this, you're going to want to stick your foot down. You know, the range is just going to just deteriorate massively. You're going to be on the very bottom end of it. So whatever they say, hopefully their range figures they're going to quote with spirited driving, but I doubt it. The other thing is, I can't see this being more than that size. I can't see this being like more than 200 miles range. I'd be very, very surprised if they're going to cram more than 200 miles range out of this, because again, it's just not possible with the sort of battery technology. That wouldn't even get me to one of my car meets. If I went to my usual car meets, which are like 1.5 hours away, I'd get there, but then getting back, maybe not. I'd have to charge at that point. So yeah, going to car meets, there's very few car meets now that would have charging points. I mean, okay, fine, look, you could use public charging, but it's just massively inconvenient, that. So yeah, I suppose you could take a generator, couldn't you? What do you think, guys, anyway? Would you have one? I know the answer to this. Probably going to be like, yeah, I wouldn't mind one, but I'm not going to pay 50 grand for it. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments, and yeah, carry on. I'm going to carry on looking at this.